There's a silent sentence running your life right now, and you don't even know that you're saying it. It starts with two words: I am. And until you expose the brutal versions of that statement, you will keep repeating the same patterns, sabotaging your relationships and opportunities, and fighting battles you don't even realize you're creating. Until you identify and transform these hidden identity statements, you'll keep recreating the same frustrating results no matter how hard you try or how much you learn. And I know this because I've been there myself. I'm your host, Daniel James, a mindset and high performance coach. And if you're new here, welcome. Today, I want to talk about why this identity that we have creates our reality and how something called the identity wheel is keeping you stuck. Back when I was 29 years old, I hit my rock bottom, I lost everything. I ended up signing up to a free Buddhism workshop, and I remember sat there on this floor meditating, and I had all these pieces to a puzzle, but I didn't know what the picture was I was trying to create. I had all these courses, workshop books, and nothing really made sense until I realized identity is the key. Because these hidden I am statements are the invisible software running your entire life. I look back at every single mistake I made, and it was because of past programs. What I say is, you're not broken. I wasn't broken. You're simply running outdated software. If you've got the latest iPhone, but you're running the software system from the original iPhone, the phone's going to appear slow. It's going to appear like it's not working properly, like there's something wrong with it. It's simply down to the fact that the operating system needs updating. Your operating system needs updating. So many people are trying harder. They're trying to do more, but they're not getting anywhere. And the reason why people aren't getting anywhere is because you can't outperform this internal identity that you have for yourself. I liken it to a thermostat. If your identity is set at 30 degrees, your self-image, like your beliefs, everything set at 30 degrees, and your life starts to heat up to 40 degrees, you're going to find a way to sabotage and cool it down back to 30, because that's what you believe you're worth. What we need to do is change that thermostat. Change the original setting from 30 to 40, because when it's set at 40, our life will then gradually heat up to where it should be. We're so busy trying to focus on the effects, but we don't go back and look at the cause. Why am I struggling? Why do I keep self-sabotaging? It's because of this hidden software. And I remember when I hit my rock bottom and I moved back home to live with my parents, I kept repeating the same statement. I'm never going to amount to anything. And there it is again. I am. I am. So powerful. Whatever you put behind I am, factual. In the present, I am. Not I think, not I will, not I was, I am. You're saying right now, in this present moment, I am. I am not going to amount to anything. And I didn't realize that I'd been repeating that same statement since I was in year 11, since I was 15 years old. I got told it once by a history teacher, and I'd kept repeating it. Maybe you've got that same voice, but it's saying something different. Where does it get loudest? Where does that voice get loudest for you? When does it get the most brutal? Because we all have one. We all have that little voice that talks to us and helps us narrate the world. The question is it serving you? And if you take a look back over the last year of your life, 2 years, 3 years, if you see a pattern of self-sabotage, then the answer is going to be no. The problem is we're not aware of this voice. We think we are that voice. We are not. We are the observer. We can question it. We can challenge it, but no one tells us how. Maybe you're not good with money. Maybe no matter how many times you get a pay rise, no matter how much extra money comes in, you always seem broke. And it could be from a young age, you observed people around you struggling with money, and you created a belief system that I am not good with money. Or maybe you had a parent that was very frivolous, always had to buy something, always had the latest thing, not realizing that they were doing it to potentially hide something, cover something up, suppress something. Maybe your belief is that rich people are not nice. Maybe your belief is that we're supposed to be poor, we're supposed to struggle. But if you're not aware of this, then is it any wonder why we keep creating the same results? And oftentimes when we talk about this voice, I'll say to people, whose voice is that? Because when you notice these negative statements you say to yourself, it often doesn't sound like us. But it's only when we stop to question it, we're like, actually, do you know what? That sounds like my dad. Do you know what? That sounds like my ex-boyfriend. I had no idea. Whose voice is that is running the show? Because beneath the surface, we have this identity wheel. So I'm just going to go to the whiteboard here so we can see what we're talking about. And again, you can find out a lot more information about this in the book I wrote, The Identity Wheel. It's the first time I've ever really done any sort of episode on this out of all the 360 that I've done. But what we essentially have here, oops, wrong button. What essentially we have here is your identity. And your identity sits in the middle of this wheel. And from the identity, we have thoughts that are generated. So if we have this negative identity, if we have this negative self-image, we're going to generate negative thoughts. Now, these thoughts that we keep on thinking over and over and over again start to become beliefs. Beliefs that we have are simply thoughts that we've never stopped to question. So these negative thoughts create beliefs, and these thoughts then generate the feelings that we have on a daily basis. If you don't know what you're thinking, how you're feeling will tell you, because you can't be thinking of bunny rabbits and unicorns and feeling negative. So what's happened is your thoughts have created this negative feeling. Maybe you're feeling slightly depressed. Maybe you're feeling a little bit anxious. But it's understanding that it was originally from these thoughts. Now, here's the thing. If you've kept thinking the same thoughts over and over and over again and generated feelings of anxiety or depression or feeling, sad, you can train your body to feel that feeling without the thought present. And then what happens is you feel anxious without the thought, and then you think about how anxious you're feeling, which then generates a new thought. And what happens is you get stuck in a cycle of your negative feelings and your negative thoughts. But the important thing to realize is that it comes from your identity. The identity here is the thing that is generating the thoughts. The identity is the thing that is generating the feelings. Now, from these feelings, we then have the action. And the actions that we take or don't take will be in direct alignment with our identity, with what we believe we're worth, what we believe that we can get. And as I mentioned a second ago, if we have our identity and it's set at 30 degrees, if our life starts to heat up to 40 degrees, we're going to find a way to self-sabotage and go back down to 30. Because the actions that we take are always going to be in alignment with that identity. We cannot outperform the identity we have of ourselves. And it's our thoughts and our feelings that will keep us stuck through the actions we take or don't take, which then gives us results confirming the identity we thought of ourselves. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And what happens is the more we go through this, that wheel tightens and tightens and tightens. And the days, the weeks, the months, the years go by, and all we're doing is just reconfirming that negative identity that we didn't even realize was running beneath the surface. But I'll say it again, you're not broken. Your wheel is spinning perfectly in the direction it was designed to spin. The problem is we're not aware of it, and because we're not aware of it, we can't do something about it. but the identity that's driving that wheel might not even be yours. So where's it come from? Now, there's something, as I mentioned a second ago, when it comes to that voice in your head, where sometimes it doesn't sound like us. Maybe it sounds like a parent, maybe it sounds like a partner, ex-partner, again, family member, old friend. And it's realizing that what could actually be running the show could be what I call a lie-identity. So it's not an identity, it is a lie-identity. It is lies that were told to you by people that maybe didn't believe in you, didn't know you, didn't want you to succeed. And it's normally from a young age. And what happens is we take on this lie identity and believe it's our identity because we've never stopped to question it. You'll notice a theme here. The theme is we don't question it. We just accept it as fact. And the reason why we just accept it is because we don't realize we can challenge it. And that then is the issue. Maybe it's your teacher saying that you're average at best. Maybe it's your parents saying you're not like your sister. You're not as good as your sister. You're not as good as your brother. Maybe it's your ex saying you're not pretty enough, that you always mess things up. You're the reason why the relationship failed. But are you still proving them right? Are you still proving them right because you're still repeating the same patterns, not realizing it's them that's pulling the strings? So if it's controlling everything, if this identity is controlling your identity, what can we actually do about it? Well, we can start to notice and ask ourselves, okay, what are the I am statements that I have that are controlling my life? So tonight, I would suggest that you spend some time and ask yourself, what are my I am statements? I'm not talking about the pretty ones of I'm happy, I'm successful. Ask yourself, what are the brutal ones? What are the brutal ones that you're saying to yourself? And what's the cost of actually not looking into these identity statements? What's it costing you? Now, again, if you do have these very negative, intrusive thoughts, I maybe recommend you don't do this by yourself. Maybe reach out to a therapist, a coach, counselor, or even, again, just your partner. Because sometimes when we uncover these really brutal I am statements, it can be hard to hear. But what is it costing you? Time, energy, effort, money, your life, your time, things that you can't get back. Awareness is the key thing. Because once we're aware of something, we can then do something about it. But I want to finish how I started. You're not broken. You're just running outdated software. The question is, are you ready for an upgrade? If you've taken any value out of today, don't forget to like and share this episode with a friend. And I will see you this time next week for our weekly lives. Until then, take it easy.